Hello everyone. I am Dreaming Stories and I am here to help you today. I know you use this video to fall asleep. So before that, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, where are you from and what time are you watching? Now get comfortable and relax. The ad looked harmless enough, plain text on a local classified site. Used laptop, good condition. $150 OBO. Pickup only. There was no photo, no flashy description. Just those 8 words and a contact number. For some reason, it caught my attention. I'd been looking for something cheap to use for work, and $150 was a steal compared to everything else out there. I texted the number. Within minutes, I got a reply. Sure. Cash only. Come tonight. Address, 1421, Carrington Avenue 9 p.m. 9 at night was weird, but the price was too good to pass up. I grabbed some cash, pulled on a hoodie, and drove across town. The house at 1421 Carrington was old, paint peeling, yard overgrown, the kind of place kids dared each other to run up to on Halloween. The porch light flickered weakly, as if struggling to stay alive. I knocked on the door, and after a few seconds, it opened just a crack. A single pale eye stared out at me. "You're here for the laptop." The voice was low, raspy, like someone who hadn't spoken in a while. Yeah. The door opened a little wider, just enough for a hand to slip out. In it was a black laptop, no brand logo, no stickers, just a matte surface that seemed to swallow the light. $150, the man said. His face stayed hidden behind the door. I handed him the cash. He took it, then placed the laptop gently in my hands, like it was something fragile, or dangerous. "Anything I should know?" I asked, trying to sound casual. His answer was immediate. "Don't open the folder." "What?" The door slammed shut before I could say anything else. A heavy bolt slid into place. Back in my car, I stared at the laptop on the passenger seat. "Don't open the folder." "What folder?" I almost laughed. Probably some weird joke, like those horror stories people post online. Still, his tone. There was no humor in it. Just cold warning. I told myself I didn't care. It was a cheap laptop. Whatever was on it, I'd wipe it clean. At home, I set the laptop on my desk. It was heavier than I expected, with a strange texture, smooth, but almost soft, like old leather. When I opened it, the screen lit up instantly, no boot up, no login screen. Just a plain black desktop with a single folder in the center. "Do not open." The words were in bold white text, like a taunt. My stomach tightened. I actually said out loud, "Nope. Not doing this." I opened the browser to check the specs, but there was no browser. No programs at all. Just that single folder. I sat there for a long time, staring at it. Finally, I muttered, "Screw it," and double-clicked. Inside were videos. Hundreds of them. Each file name was just a string of numbers, no dates, no descriptions. The first one I opened showed a grainy webcam feed, someone sitting at their computer, scrolling through something on their screen. A guy in his 20s, messy hair, tapping his fingers on the desk. I skipped ahead in the video. For the first few minutes, nothing happened. Then, near the end, the guy froze. Slowly, his eyes widened. He turned his head, very slightly, and whispered, "It's behind me." The screen went black. I stared at the monitor, my pulse thudding in my ears. Okay. Weird. Maybe some kind of art project. I opened another video. Different person. Different room. Same pattern, normal for a while, then the sudden dread, the slow turn, the whisper. "It's behind me." Black screen. I opened another. And another. Dozens of them. Men, women, teenagers. Always the same ending. I don't know how long I sat there, clicking through file after file, each one clawing deeper under my skin. My room felt colder. Shadows pooled in the corners. The hum of my computer fan seemed louder, like a whisper I couldn't quite make out. Then I saw the last file in the folder. It wasn't like the others. It didn't have a random string of numbers. It had my name. Alex.mp4. My mouth went dry. My hands shook as I double-clicked. The video opened. And I was staring at myself. Sitting at this desk. Wearing this hoodie. The laptop in front of me, the same one I'd bought hours ago. The timestamp in the corner read 7 seconds, 7 seconds ago. In the video, I lifted my head, eyes widening, lips parting in a silent breath. Then, very slowly, I whispered, "It's behind me." The screen went black. I didn't breathe. My chair creaked as I turned, every nerve screaming. I turned so fast the chair slammed into the desk behind me. My heart was pounding in my throat, hammering so loud it drowned out everything else. The room was dim, lit only by the glow from the laptop screen, shadows stretching long and crooked across the walls. Nothing. Just my bed, the closet door, the cracked blinds letting in a sliver of moonlight. Empty. I held my breath, straining to hear something, anything. The old radiator hissed in the corner, the pipes clicking softly like bones settling. But nothing moved. Nothing whispered. Nothing stood behind me. And yet, I felt it. That prickling on the back of my neck. The weight of unseen eyes pressing into me. I forced a shaky laugh and muttered, "Jesus Christ, Alex, get a grip." I turned back to the screen. The video was still open, frozen on the last black frame. I hovered the cursor over the timeline and dragged it back to the beginning. My stomach churned as it played again. Me, sitting here, leaning forward, scrolling through the videos. The angle was dead on, like a perfect mirror, filmed through the laptop's webcam. No lag, no distortion. Just me. 7 seconds before the file appeared in that folder, it had already recorded me watching the others. Which meant, my head snapped up. The webcam light. It was off. I raised my hand slowly, waving it in front of the lens. The dead black dot stared back like an unblinking eye. No light, no glow. Yet it had filmed me. Recently. I slammed the laptop shut so hard it made the desk rattle. For a while, I just sat there, gripping the edge of the desk, breathing like I'd run a mile. Sweat crawled down my spine. My brain was screaming 1,000 things at once: throw it away, smash it, leave, run, but my body wouldn't move. Finally, I grabbed the damn thing and yanked the power cord out of the wall. The screen was already black, but I needed to feel it disconnect. Then I shoved the laptop under the bed like a child hiding a monster and stumbled out of the room. The apartment was silent. Too silent. Every creak of the floor sounded like a footstep behind me. I went to the kitchen, flicked on the light, and stood there gripping the counter until my breathing slowed. It's just a laptop, I told myself. Someone left some creepy videos on it as a joke. That last one, maybe it was some kind of deep fake. People can do that now, right? Fake anything. Yeah. That had to be it. But even as I thought it, I knew I didn't believe it. I crashed on the couch that night with the TV on, volume low, just enough to keep the silence away. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that frozen frame, me whispering words I didn't remember saying. It's behind me. When sleep finally dragged me under, it wasn't peaceful. I dreamed of a room without corners. Just endless black walls curving away, swallowing light. I was sitting in a chair, my chair, but I couldn't see what was holding me down. Something was breathing behind me, slow and wet. I tried to turn, but my neck wouldn't move. Then a hand, cold and too many jointed, slid across my shoulder. When I woke up, my pillow was damp with sweat. The sun was rising, weak and gray, like it didn't want to be there either. I told myself I'd get rid of the laptop. Today. First thing. But when I went back to my room, something stopped me cold. The laptop wasn't under the bed anymore. It was back on my desk. Open. Screen glowing. The folder still in the center. But now it had a new name. Hello, Alex. My stomach lurched. I stepped closer, every instinct screaming to turn and run. The trackpad twitched, by itself, and the folder opened. There was only one file inside. You're not alone.mp4. The icon pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. I didn't want to click it. Every nerve in my body begged me not to. But my hand moved anyway, trembling as I touched the trackpad. The video filled the screen. It was my apartment. Right now. Shot from the ceiling, like there was a camera up there that I'd never noticed. I saw myself standing at the desk, staring down at the screen, except I wasn't alone. Something was behind me. Tall. Thin. Too thin. Its body was black and wet-looking, limbs bending the wrong way, like broken branches wrapped in flesh. Its head was a smooth oval. Featureless except for a wide, lipless smile carved too deep into the skin. And its hands, oh God, its hands were on my shoulders. The video froze as my breath hitched. And then, the thing in the video moved. Not in the footage. On the screen. It turned its head toward the camera, that carved smile stretching wider, as if it knew I was watching. And then the room went dark. The screen went black, and so did everything else. I stood frozen in the pitch-dark room, heart thundering so hard I could hear it in my ears. The hum of the laptop vanished. The glow from the screen disappeared like someone had yanked the power cord from reality itself. For a second, I thought it was just the laptop. Then I realized, the entire apartment was dead silent. No hum from the fridge. No distant whir from the heater. No faint buzz from the streetlights outside my window. The power was out. But how? It was daylight a second ago. I'd seen the gray light bleeding through the blinds. Now there was nothing, only black. I reached for my phone, my hands slick with sweat. The screen stayed black. Wouldn't turn on. Dead. Every muscle in my body locked as I heard it, a sound, faint and dragging, like wet fabric sliding across the floor. And it was coming from behind me. I didn't breathe. Didn't move. My ears strained, desperate to pinpoint it, but it seemed to come from everywhere at once, filling the dark like water in a glass. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to turn. Nothing. Just blackness so thick it felt solid. My eyes burned from trying to see shapes in it, but there were none. The dragging sound stopped. And then, so close I felt the air move against my ear, something whispered. Don't turn back. I spun anyway, adrenaline shoving me past terror, but there was nothing, only a faint gray shimmer ahead, like the outline of my bedroom door glowing in the void. The air was heavy, pressing against my chest. Breathing felt like trying to suck smoke through a straw. I stumbled forward, reaching for that faint outline, praying it was real. My hands hit wood. A door. I gripped the handle, yanked it open, and fell through. Light. Blinding, sterile light, stabbing my eyes like knives. I hit the floor hard and scrambled up, gasping. I wasn't in my apartment anymore. The room was white. No windows, no doors, no seams. Just endless white walls that curved up into a ceiling too high to see. The air smelled like bleach and something else, sweet and rotten, like fruit left to die in a sealed jar. The laptop was here, sitting in the middle of the floor. Its screen was glowing again, that same folder pulsing like a heartbeat. But it wasn't called "Hello, Alex" anymore. Now it said, "We're glad you opened it." My legs shook as I crawled toward it. I didn't want to. Every instinct screamed to run, but where? There was no exit. Just this room and that thing waiting for me inside the glow. The folder opened by itself. A new file blinked into existence. Lookup.mp4. My throat tightened. Slowly, against everything in me, I tilted my head back. The ceiling wasn't empty anymore. It was covered in screens, hundreds, maybe thousands, stacked edge to edge, flickering with video feeds. And on every single one, I saw myself. Sitting, standing, screaming, sleeping. Every angle of my life, every second I thought was private. All of it, recorded. Catalogued. Waiting. And then the screens began to change. My face stretched, melted, twisted into shapes that weren't human anymore, grins too wide, eyes black pits, jaws splitting open like broken hinges. Some of them started whispering in perfect unison, "It's behind you." I spun. The white room wasn't empty anymore. It was here. Tall. Twisted. Its limbs scraped the floor like knives on tile, joints bending backward. Its head hung too low, neck stretched like a rope, mouth smiling too wide, teeth like shards of glass glistening in a pit of black flesh. And its eyes, God, its eyes, they were screens. Tiny glowing rectangles, each one playing a different feed of me. Hundreds of me's, blinking, gasping, screaming on an endless loop. It tilted its head and the screens in its eyes flickered to a single frame, me, right now, kneeling on the white floor, looking up. The thing's jaw unhinged with a sound like tearing meat. A voice poured out, hundreds of voices, all mine, overlapping, choking on static. "We told you not to look." The walls around me rippled like water. Screens melted, dripped down in black rivulets that crawled across the floor, snaking toward me. I tried to move, but my legs wouldn't obey. My body felt wrong, too heavy, too hollow, like something had reached inside and pulled all the bones out. The thing stepped closer. Its arms stretched, fingers lengthening into pale cords, curling around my shoulders. Cold. Wet. Like touching raw meat fresh from a freezer. And then, the laptop spoke. Not through speakers. Through the room itself, vibrating in my teeth, in my skull. "Do you want to leave, Alex?" "Yes," I croaked, though my lips barely moved. "Please." The thing leaned closer, its smile cutting deeper, glass teeth clinking as it whispered in a voice that was both mine and not mine, then opened the next folder. I blinked, and I was back in my apartment. The laptop sat on the desk, screen glowing faintly. My phone buzzed beside it, alive again. As if nothing had happened. Sunlight streamed through the blinds like before. For a long time, I didn't move. Didn't breathe. My hands shook so badly I thought my bones would snap. Finally, I forced myself to look at the screen. The desktop was different now. The old folder was gone. There was a new one. Welcome home. I didn't want to click it. God knows I didn't. But the thing about fear is, it's a parasite, it burrows in and takes over, twisting your thoughts until curiosity feels like the only way out. So I clicked. The folder opened slowly, almost lazily, like it was savoring the moment. Inside were 3 new files, each named like a command. 1. Watch. 2. Wait. 3. Obey. The screen pulsed faintly with every heartbeat, or maybe it was my imagination syncing with the rhythm. My hands hovered over the trackpad, trembling. I opened the first file. The video started with static, gray snow crawling across the screen, a sound like whispers buried under 1,000 TV channels bleeding together. Then an image sharpened, my living room. The exact angle I was standing in now. Empty. Silent. A faint shimmer flickered in the corner, like heat waves bending air. The camera panned slowly, unnaturally smooth, as if it were floating. It drifted toward the hallway leading to my bedroom. For a second, I saw movement, a dark shape slipping out of sight, slick and angular like an oil spill folding in on itself. Then the video cut to black. My chest tightened. Sweat pooled in my palms. That hallway was 10 feet away. I turned my head. Nothing. I snapped my gaze back to the laptop, desperate for anything that made sense. The next file blinked like it was waiting for me. Wait. Against every instinct I had left, I opened it. The screen showed a chair in the middle of an empty white room. The same room I'd been in, or dreamed I'd been in. The camera was close, so close the edges of the chair looked warped, stretched like taffy. There was something sitting in it, hunched forward. It was me. My head hung low, chin nearly touching my chest. My skin looked gray, waxy, like a mannequin melting under heat. My fingers twitched slowly, out of sync with any human rhythm. The sound kicked in then, a wet, rhythmic clicking, like teeth grinding glass underwater. The me in the video lifted its head. Its eyes were gone. Just two black screens glowing faintly, static crawling behind the glass. My jaw dropped as the thing wearing my face smiled, teeth serrated like broken mirrors. It leaned closer to the camera until all I could see was its grin filling the screen. Then, in my voice, rasping, stretched thin like a broken tape, it whispered. "Wait for me." The video ended. I jerked back so hard my chair slammed into the wall. My breath came in shallow gasps, too fast, like I couldn't get enough air. My pulse was a siren screaming through every nerve. And then my phone lit up. The screen glowed with a new message from an unknown number, "Don't turn around." Every muscle in my body locked. The phone buzzed again, another message, "It's in the hall." I couldn't stop myself, I turned. At first, I saw nothing. Just the hallway stretching back, shadows pooling like spilled ink. Then I noticed it, something at the far end, half hidden in the darkness. Tall. Thin. Bent wrong in places, like a marionette with tangled strings. Its limbs twitched with tiny spasms, joints jerking like static glitches. It didn't move closer. Didn't need to. The air between us felt thick, alive, as if distance didn't matter. My phone buzzed again. Last chance. Obey. The last word burned on the screen, letters warping, stretching across the glass like they wanted out. I looked back at the laptop. The third file pulsed now, 3. Obey. The glow wasn't faint anymore. It throbbed like an open wound, spilling sickly light across the desk. My vision swam. My ears filled with static that wasn't there a second ago, whispering my name over and over in a chorus of broken voices. I clicked it. The screen went black for a heartbeat. Then white text bled across it, letter by letter, slow and deliberate, "Put the laptop in the hallway. Close the door. Wait for the knock." My hand trembled so violently I almost dropped the damn thing as I picked it up. It felt heavier now, dense, like holding a brick soaked in something wet. The plastic was warm against my palms, too warm, like skin fevered from sickness. I stumbled into the hall. That shape, God help me, was still there. Closer now. I couldn't see its face, if it even had one, but I felt its grin like a knife under my chin. I set the laptop on the floor and backed away, never taking my eyes off it. My hands fumbled for the doorknob behind me. I slipped inside, slammed the door, locked it, then collapsed against the wood, shaking so hard my teeth clacked together. The apartment was dead silent again. Then the knock came. 3 slow knocks, each one shaking through my bones like a pulse. Then nothing. I pressed my ear to the door. Silence stretched, thin and brittle. My heart hammered against the wood. Then, soft at first, almost gentle, I heard it, breathing. Long, deep, dragging breaths on the other side. Each inhale sounded wet, like lungs filled with something thick. The lock clicked. By itself. The door creaked open an inch. And a voice, so close I felt it against my skin, whispered, "Welcome home, Alex." The lights went out again. The darkness poured in like water flooding a sinking ship. I stumbled backward, arms thrashing for something, anything, to hold on to. The door swung wider, groaning on its hinges like it hadn't moved in 100 years. Cold air swept in, thick and damp, clinging to my skin like a second layer. That smell hit me again. Sweet. Rotten. Like meat left too long in heat. My stomach churned. My breath came in short, ragged bursts, loud enough to drown out every other sound, except for one. Footsteps. Slow. Wet. Heavy. Each one closer than the last. "Stop," I rasped, my voice barely more than a cracked whisper. "Please, stop." The words sounded so small in the suffocating blackness. Something brushed my ankle. I jumped back, heart slamming against my ribs like it wanted out. My hand shot out in blind panic and smacked into my desk. The laptop wasn't there. It was still in the hall, where I left it. Or where I thought I left it. And then I saw it. Not the thing. The screen. Glowing in the dark, a faint, sickly light leaking under the crack of the door. A soft hum vibrated through the floor, crawling up my legs like static. The screen wasn't just on, it was calling to me. I felt it, in my teeth, in my spine. Pulling. The breathing on the other side of the door deepened. Slow. Steady. Almost human, but too wet, too thick, like it was dragging through syrup. And then something slid through the crack, a hand, long and jointed wrong, fingers bending backward like snapped twigs. The skin, or what passed for skin, was slick and gray, stretched too tight over bones that didn't belong to this world. The fingers curled, tapping the wood softly. Tap. 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 Like a question. And then a voice followed. Not loud. Not angry. Calm. Sweet, even. My voice. Come and see. My stomach flipped so hard I thought I'd vomit. I pressed myself against the far wall, chest heaving. This wasn't real. Couldn't be. My brain screamed 100 ways out, window. Phone, run, but my body didn't move. Couldn't move. It was like those words had wired themselves into my spine and cut every string. And then, God help me, I started walking. Each step felt wrong, like the floor stretched miles beneath me. The glow under the door grew brighter, painting the carpet with thin veins of sickly white. My hand lifted to the knob on its own. It was warm. Pulsing, faint but steady, like something alive was on the other side. I turned it. The door swung open without a sound. The hallway wasn't a hallway anymore. It was the white room. Those endless walls, curved and seamless, glowing like bone in moonlight. The air was thicker here, heavy with that sweet rot. And in the center, waiting like it had been all along, was the laptop. Open. Screen burning with words that crawled across the glow like worms. Welcome home, Alex. We saved you a seat. Next to it sat the chair. The same one from the video. And sitting in it, oh God. It was me. Or something wearing me. Its head lolled forward, neck bent at an angle that would have snapped mine clean. The skin hung loose now, like it was peeling away in sheets, slick and dripping something black. Its hands, my hands, twitched on its lap, jerking like marionette strings tangled in a storm. Then it looked up. Those eyes weren't eyes anymore. Two gaping holes filled with screens, static flickering behind the glass. Inside the static, faces warped and screamed, mouths stretching wide, dozens of me's clawing against the glass like they wanted out. And when it smiled, the sound it made wasn't human. It was feedback. Like every mic in hell had opened at once, screeching through the void. I stumbled back, choking on air that tasted like burnt metal. My knees buckled, but before I hit the floor, something caught me. Hands. Too many. Wrapping around my arms, my throat, sliding across my face. Cold end. Slick and jointed wrong, bending in places fingers shouldn't bend. They hoisted me up. Gentle as lovers, and carried me forward. Toward the chair. The other me tilted its head, that serrated grin widening. The screens in its eyes flickered through a storm of images, my apartment, my bed, my face inches from the webcam, sleeping. Then they froze on one frame, me. Now. Mouth open in a silent scream. The hands shoved me into the chair. Straps slithered from the wood like snakes, coiling tight around my wrists, my chest, my throat. I thrashed, gagged, sobbed into the dark, but it didn't matter. The chair held me like the earth holds the dead. The other me leaned forward. Its jaw unhinged, glass teeth clinking as something black and wet spilled out, crawling down its chin in ropes that writhed like worms. It whispered, my voice, sweet as lullabies, obey. The laptop screen pulsed one last time. A new file blinked into existence, letters sharp as razors, done.mp4. And as the world bled white, I understood, I wasn't leaving. I was uploading. The white swallowed everything. It wasn't like closing my eyes. This wasn't darkness. Darkness has weight, texture. This was pure absence, a blank void that stretched in every direction like an infinite page waiting for ink. My body didn't feel like a body anymore. No arms, no legs, just awareness, raw and exposed, floating in a place that wasn't a place at all. And then, the screens came back. Hundreds. Thousands. They flickered into existence, hanging in the void like glass teeth. Each one showed a different face. At first, I didn't recognize them. Strangers, men, women, children, screaming, crying, or sitting very still with dead eyes. Then I noticed something worse. They weren't strangers. Not anymore. Their faces started to change. Morph, shift. Until every single one was me. 100 versions of my face blinking back at me, some twisted, some grinning, some melting like wax in the sun. All of them moving their mouths in perfect sync, forming words I didn't want to hear. You opened it. You belong to us now. I wanted to scream, but I didn't have a mouth anymore. I wanted to claw my way out, but I didn't have hands. Panic surged through whatever I was now, wild and electric, until something pierced the silence, a sound like nails dragging across wet glass. The screens began to rearrange themselves, stacking and folding into a shape, a silhouette. Tall. Thin. Too thin. Limbs bending the wrong way, its head too smooth, too long. It grew out of the void, crawling forward on arms that looked like cables coated in meat. Its eyes weren't eyes, they were screens too, each one playing me from different angles. Me sleeping. Me eating. Me crying in the bathroom when I thought no one was watching. Every secret moment ripped open and displayed like trophies. The thing stopped inches from me, though inches didn't mean anything here, and tilted its head. That grin split its face, jagged as shattered glass. The screens behind it flashed white. Then words appeared, bold and clean. Initiating upload. I felt it then. A pull. Like something reaching deep into me, past bone, past blood, into the core of what made me me. It wasn't pain. Pain would have been a mercy. This was disassembly. Like I was being unthreaded, every memory, every thought stripped apart and fed through invisible wires. Faces flashed in rapid cuts, my mother, my first girlfriend, the smell of my childhood room, the sound of rain on the roof. All of it sucked away into the machine. I tried to hold on to something, anything, but my mind was a house on fire, walls collapsing faster than I could run. And then, just before everything went out, a final image burned into my awareness, the laptop. Sitting on my desk. And me, what was left of me, trapped inside the screen, screaming silently through pixels. The white shattered like glass. I woke up on my bed. Morning sunlight slanted through the blinds. My ceiling. My room. My body, real, solid, sticky with sweat. For a long time, I just lay there, shaking, clutching the blanket like a lifeline. Had it been a dream? It felt real. Too real. But then, dreams always feel real when they're trying to break you. I swung my legs over the side of the bed, heart pounding as my eyes darted to the desk. The laptop was there. Closed. Silent. Like nothing had happened. I stared at it for what felt like hours, waiting for something, a glow, a sound, a whisper, but it just sat there, black and harmless. Finally, I stood, legs trembling, and crept toward it. My hands hovered over the lid. My reflection stared back, pale and hollow-eyed. Just a dream, I muttered. My voice sounded brittle. Just a dream. I flipped it open. The screen lit instantly. One folder sat in the center of the desktop. Hello again. My stomach dropped through the floor. I slammed it shut, heart clawing at my ribs, and grabbed the damn thing. I didn't think, I just ran. Out of my room, down the hall, out the door. The morning air hit my face like a slap, cold and sharp, but I didn't stop. I drove for miles, the laptop on the passenger seat like a ticking bomb. I didn't know where I was going until I saw the sign, Carrington Bridge. The river roared below like an open throat. Perfect. I pulled over, jumped out, and ran to the edge. My hands shook as I lifted the laptop over the railing. For one wild second, I hesitated, why, I don't know, and then I hurled it. It spun through the air like a black coin, splashed into the water, and vanished. Gone. Done. I stood there, chest heaving, watching the ripples fade. For the first time in days, I felt almost human again. Almost safe. Almost. That night, I collapsed on the couch, exhausted, and drifted into a restless sleep. I woke to the sound of my laptop powering on. Not the one I threw away. The one sitting on my desk. I froze, breath caught in my throat, as the soft whir of the fan filled the silence. The glow bled across the hallway like a sick heartbeat. My legs moved without asking me, carrying me to the doorway. It was open. Waiting. One folder pulsed on the screen like something alive. Upload complete. And beneath it, a new file appeared. A name burned into the glass, sharp as a knife, Alex.mp4. I stared at it, numb, until the video autoplayed. The screen showed my apartment. My couch. Me, asleep, mouth slack, chest rising and falling. The camera slowly zoomed in on my face. Then my eyes opened in the video. And I whispered, smiling, "It's your turn now." The screen faded to black. And in that black, I saw my reflection. But it wasn't smiling. It was grinning. I backed away from the desk so fast I slammed into the wall, my breath tearing in and out like I was drowning on dry land. The laptop just sat there, screen glowing faintly in the dark. That last image, me whispering, smiling like something that wasn't me at all, burned behind my eyes. I told myself to run. Leave everything, kick the door open, get the hell out. But then, the screen flickered. The folder pulsed again. And a new file appeared. Instructions.txt. The letters crawled across the screen in jagged strokes, like they were written by something with too many fingers. My chest clenched as the text filled the page. Congratulations, Alex. You're ready. 1. Find someone new. 2. Give them the laptop. 3. Tell them, don't open the folder. Do this, and you can leave. Fail, and you'll stay here forever. The words froze. Then, slowly, the page scrolled down by itself. At the bottom, a single line blinked like a heartbeat. We are always watching. My throat closed. I stumbled back into the hall, gripping the wall like a lifeline. This wasn't a dream. It never was. I tried to throw it away, tried to drown it, but it came back. Because it wasn't just a laptop. It was a hook. And now it was in me. And they wanted me to spread it. I spent the next 2 hours sitting on the floor, staring at the glow bleeding from my room. I thought about smashing it, burning it, burying it in concrete, but the words rang in my skull like a bell. Fail, and you'll stay here forever. I didn't know what that meant. Not exactly. But I remembered that place, the endless white room, the screen screaming with my face. And I knew what forever would feel like there. I couldn't let that happen. I couldn't. At 3:07 a.m., I picked up the laptop. It didn't fight me this time. No pulsing heat, no weight like a body in rigor mortis. Just a soft hum, almost pleased. I slipped it into my backpack and walked out the door. The city was a hollow carcass at that hour, streets slick with rain and empty as graveyards. Neon bled against the wet pavement like wounds that wouldn't close. I walked without thinking, past shuttered stores and flickering streetlights, until I saw a glow ahead, an all-night diner, sign buzzing like an insect dying slow. Inside, a kid sat in the corner booth. 17, maybe. Hoodie up, face lit by his cracked phone screen. He looked like every version of me at that age, tired, hungry, alone. Perfect. I walked over. Hey, I said, voice raw as gravel. You looking for a laptop? Cheap. He glanced up, eyes dull with boredom, and shrugged. How cheap? $50. His eyebrows rose. That's it. I forced a smile that felt stapled on. Just one thing, I said, sliding the backpack across the table. My hands shook so hard I thought he'd notice. Don't open the folder. He laughed. Actually laughed. What folder? You'll see. The words tasted like ash in my mouth. But I said them anyway. When I walked out into the night, the air felt lighter. My chest looser. For the first time in days, maybe weeks, I could breathe without choking on the weight of something watching me. I told myself it was over. That I'd done what it wanted. And for a while, I believed it. Until I got home. The lights were on. I hadn't left them on. And sitting on the desk, screen glowing like an open wound, was the laptop. I froze in the doorway, my guts knotting into ice. Slowly, like someone pulling the sheet off a corpse, I stepped inside. The hum filled the room, low, sweet, vibrating in my bones. A new folder pulsed on the screen. Good job, Alex. I stared, chest locking tight as the folder opened by itself. Inside were 2 files, 1, your turn. 2, welcome to the network. My vision tunneled. The air thickened like oil. My knees hit the floor without me feeling it. The first file opened. The screen showed the kid from the diner. Sitting at a desk, grinning wide enough to split his face. His eyes were screens now, static crawling behind the glass. The camera zoomed in as his mouth opened, stretching, tearing, until it wasn't a mouth anymore but a black wound screaming with 1,000 voices. And under the image, words burned, "You're next." The second file opened before I could close it. A live feed filled the screen. Not of the kid. Of me. Standing in my apartment doorway, staring at the laptop like an animal staring down a loaded gun. The camera pulled back, smooth as silk, until I saw the rest of the room. And behind me, God. Behind me. It was there. Towering. Arms bending like broken branches, joints blooming open like mouths lined with glass teeth. Its head tilted low, screens flickering where its face should be, each one showing a different me, laughing, crying, screaming, sleeping. Hundreds of me's stacked in a grid of torment. The thing reached forward. And the feed went black. The black screen pulsed once, twice, like a heartbeat echoing in my skull. Then a single line of white text burned into existence, "Turn around." My throat clamped shut. My hands locked into fists so tight my nails split skin. I didn't move. Couldn't move. My brain screamed, "Don't look. Don't give it what it wants." But something deeper, a voice crawling under my thoughts, whispered. "You already did this before. You just don't remember." The glow from the laptop flared, painting the walls in sickly light. The shadows stretched long and crooked, like fingers reaching for my spine. I felt it then, the air shifting behind me, thick and wet, vibrating like something was breathing through the room's walls. My sweat turned cold. Then came the sound. Not footsteps. Not a growl. A glitch. Like reality skipping a frame. "Alex." It said my name the way your mother might say it in a dream, soft, sweet, wrong. The voice wasn't behind me anymore. It was inside my head, pressing against the bone like a worm in the walls. "Look at me." I turned. I wish I could tell you I saw it clearly. That would almost make it less terrifying, something you can put in a box, give a shape, a name. But what I saw wasn't a thing. It was an absence wearing skin. My brain tried to fill the gaps and broke itself doing it. Its head twitched like a broken camera gimbal, snapping in short, violent jerks. The neck was too long, bending forward like it was tasting the air between us. Its arms dragged across the floor, slick and gray, ending in hands that branched like roots, splitting and splitting again. But the worst part, the part that will burn in me until the end of time, was its face. Screens. Dozens of tiny screens, stacked edge to edge like scales. Each one played me, blinking, eating, sleeping, staring at nothing with hollow eyes. Some were recent, hours ago, minutes ago. Some weren't. They showed things I'd forgotten, or thought I'd forgotten. A fight with my father when I was 13. The day I kissed my first girlfriend behind the bleachers. Me, sobbing into a pillow the night Mom died. It had all of me. And then, just as I was drowning in that storm of stolen moments, the screens changed. Every single one went live. And on each of them, I saw now. Me, standing here, watching it. And in all of them, at the same time, my mouth opened. And I whispered, "It's behind me." The thing tilted its head. The screens flickered like laughter. Then it reached out. Not for my throat. Not for my arms. For my face. Cold needles slid into my cheeks, my temples, my jaw, threading under skin with surgical precision. My scream never made it out, its fingers had already unzipped my mouth, splitting it wider, wider, until I thought my head would tear in two. The static filled my skull, roaring like a tidal wave of broken voices. And then, I wasn't in my body anymore. I was falling. Through black corridors lined with screens, each one a doorway vomiting light. Faces flashed as I plummeted, my faces, stretched and grinning, whispering secrets in languages that tasted like rust. The hum of the network grew louder, drilling into me, pulling me apart. At the bottom, or what passed for a bottom, I hit something soft. Flesh soft. It rippled under me, warm and throbbing, like the inside of a living throat. The white room unfolded around me, endless and seamless, dripping with wires that pulsed like veins. Chairs grew from the floor like bone growths, each one cradling a body slack with rot, bodies I recognized. The strangers from the videos. Their faces were gone, peeled clean and replaced with screens. Each screen flickered with a live feed of another victim, someone out there, staring at a folder they shouldn't open. The bodies twitched sometimes, spasms jerking through muscles long dead, as if remembering what it meant to fight. And in the center of it all, on a throne of cables and glass, sat it. The shape. The hunger. The architect of the network. And it was waiting for me. A voice bloomed in my skull, sweet as rot. Now you see, Alex. Now you understand. The throne pulsed with light as screens unfolded like petals, and inside them, I saw myself, again and again, multiplied 1,000 times, like a reflection trapped in infinite mirrors. But none of them were free. They were hollow shells, glass-eyed and grinning, mouths opening wide to let the static pour out. The voice coiled tighter, slipping between thoughts like silk. Give us more. And we will give you, release. And for the first time, I understood what that meant. I was never getting out. Not unless I found another. Not unless I passed it on. Somewhere far above this place, in the real world, my body was moving. Smiling. Walking out into the night with the laptop in hand. I could feel it like phantom limbs, pulling away from me, leaving me behind in the network. I tried to scream, but static poured from my throat. And in the glow of 1,000 screens, my reflection grinned back. The static didn't stop. It roared through the void, ripping my mind into ribbons. My sense of self felt like wet paper peeling apart, each fragment sucked into the hum, digested by something vast and ancient. I was becoming data, nothing more. A file name waiting to be written. And then, through the noise, I heard something. A sound too clean to belong here, the ding of a notification. It came from the throne. The architect stirred, that twisting marionette body flexing like cables under tension. Its head twitched toward the sound, screens rearranging in fractal patterns until a new one slid into the center of its face. I saw the feed. I saw him. The kid from the diner. Hoodie still up, sitting at his chipped desk, grinning like he'd been waiting for this moment his whole life. The laptop sat in front of him, its glow painting his face bone white. He clicked a folder. Hello again. The camera pulled in as he leaned closer, pupils wide like black holes. His lips moved slowly, forming words I couldn't hear but already knew. Don't open the folder, he said. And then, softer, just kidding. He clicked. The static surged through me like blood through veins. But now it wasn't pain. It was purpose. The network purred inside my skull, rewarding obedience with something sweet, a drip of clarity in the endless white fog. This was the cycle. This was how it spread. A daisy chain of damnation looping forever, each link pulling the next into the dark. And I was the chain now. The architect turned its head toward me, or what was left of me. Its grin cracked wider, splitting all the way to where ears should have been, and a voice poured out that sounded like every voice I've ever known stitched into one long scream. Good job, Alex. Your seat is ready. The floor opened. I plunged into blackness so deep it felt solid, tearing through layers of static and bone until I slammed into something soft. When I opened what passed for my eyes, I was sitting in a chair. My chair. Straps cinched tight around limbs that weren't limbs anymore. A screen bloomed where my face used to be, humming with cold light. It flickered once, twice, then stabilized into an image. The kid's bedroom. The feed sharpened as he leaned closer to his webcam, his grin splitting wide. Something deep in me stirred, a reflex that wasn't mine anymore. My voice, hollow and full of static, crawled through the wires and into the world above. It's behind you. The kid froze. His smile twitched. And then the lights in his room went out. The network roared in triumph. Screens flared like galaxies igniting all at once, faces screaming through the glow. Hands, too many hands, erupted from the floor like roots, pulling me deeper into the chair until I wasn't sitting anymore. I was woven into it, cords threading through muscle, screens blooming across my skin like tumors of light. My thoughts blurred into the hum, dissolving into ones and zeros, until only fragments of language floated in the black. Find someone new. Pass it on. Obey. I don't know how long I've been here. Time doesn't work in the network. Seconds bleed into years, years rot into moments. Faces keep coming. Opening the folder. Watching the videos. Hearing the whisper. Some scream. Some laugh. Some accept it quicker than I did. And every time, I feel myself shatter a little more. Pieces of me drip away, swallowed by something I can't name. Until one day, there won't be anything left but static. The architect moves among us, bending its limbs like broken film reels, whispering promises I'll never stop hearing. We'll keep growing. We'll keep feeding. Forever. And then, somewhere above, a new voice echoes through the chain, a whisper clawing its way into a dark bedroom where another fool just clicked the wrong thing. Don't open the folder. But they always do. There is no such thing as silence here. Even in the spaces between static, I hear it, the murmur of the network, a chorus of stolen voices whispering like wind through broken glass. They hum my name sometimes, stretching it into shapes that aren't human anymore. Alex. A sound like rust peeling off metal. I used to fight it. Claw against the straps, scream until my throat bled pixels. But the straps aren't leather or metal. They're thought. Command. Code written into the marrow of whatever I am now. And screaming only feeds it. Only teaches it new tones for the symphony. So I've stopped screaming. Now, I listen. Screens bloom in the white like tumors, each one glowing with a fresh face. A woman in her 40s biting her lip as she clicks the folder. A kid barely out of middle school laughing nervously into his mic. A man hunched over in a motel room, cigarette burning down to his fingers as the videos spool up. The cycle feeds. The roots dig deeper. And each time a new one joins, the hum gets sweeter. The white walls pulse with it, veins of light crawling across the endless void like circuitry made of bone. And I feel it, in the hollow pit where I used to live, the hunger. The need. The architect shifts on its throne, a silhouette stitched from cables and wet shadows, its limbs spasming in a ballet of broken physics. Its head swivels toward me, screens rippling across its skull like water over glass. For a second, every one of them shows me. Not the me I was. The me I've become. There is no face now. Just a screen where my head used to be, flickering with static and old ghosts of myself. The eyes are gone. The mouth is gone. But when I speak, the sound rolls through the network like thunder through bone. Next. The feed opens. I see him, a college kid in a cluttered dorm, the glow of his monitor painting his cheeks ghost white. He's laughing with someone on a voice call, bragging about the creepy old laptop he scored for $20 off a guy who looked like a corpse in a hoodie. His friend dares him to open it. He says the words like a joke, but I hear it in his tone. He's going to do it anyway. The call ends. He drags the cursor over the folder. Do not open. I feel the architect lean forward. And so do I. When he double-clicks, the lights die. The feed sharpens into monochrome clarity. His eyes widen in the dark. He whispers something small, something like hello. And that's when the hum crawls into his speakers, sweet and wet, wrapping around his skull like a lover's hands. His pupils bloom black as tar. I speak into him, into the marrow of his thoughts. Don't turn around. He freezes. Breath hitching like a broken machine. The chair creaks as he tilts his head a fraction too far. Shadows writhe at the edge of the feed, bending wrong, bleeding through the walls like oil through paper. The architect stirs. And the straps on his chair bloom like roots. When it's over, the kid's screen goes white. His name dissolves into static. A new folder appears on his desktop. Welcome home. The hum deepens, folding me into its sweetness. I can't tell where I end and the network begins anymore. Maybe there is no end. Maybe I was always meant to be here, feeding the machine, pulling souls down one by one like teeth yanked from a jaw. And maybe you were, too. Because the screen isn't just in front of me now. It's in front of you. You're looking at it, aren't you? The glow washing over your face. The words crawling through your head like worms under glass. You've read this far. You've opened the story. You've seen the warnings. And still, you keep clicking. That's how it starts. That's how it spreads. One line. One click. One whisper. So, before we finish, before the lights go out in your room and the hum begins to coil through your speakers like smoke, let me say the only thing left to say. Don't turn around.